Every who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton, but where to get great prices on gifts they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and no prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration. And use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
I know every operating system like the back of my hand.
I have 25 years of experience and have worked with several people from your company. I've been recognized for my passion. My team is everything.
LinkedIn delivers candidates who rise above the rest. With an up-to-date view into shared connections, skills, and interests you won't find anywhere else. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole. There are corners of the American South where the cypress trees block out the sun and the line between folklore and reality gets very blurry. Most people avoid these dark places, but our guest tonight has built a career and a legacy walking right into them. He is the physical embodiment of Southern Gothic. You likely know him as a frontman of the horror western band Ghoultown, one of the narrators behind the Small Town Monsters documentaries, or the author who literally wrote the book on the Beast of Boggy Creek. I actually had the privilege of sharing a stage with him just last month during AutoCrit's Into the Unknown expert session. Seeing him in that element really reminded me why he is the definitive voice in this field. He bridges the gap between rock star charisma and serious, boots-on-the-ground journalism like no one else. Tonight, we're wading back into the swamp with the man in black. Please welcome Lyle Blackburn. Lyle, welcome to the Infinite Rabbit Hole, my friend.
Thank you. Very awesome intro. I'm going to have you come on every show that I do.
So, Lyle, just to kind of introduce you to, if there's anybody that listens to this podcast that doesn't know who you are, I've referenced you in a ton of episodes. We have 200 and I think this is 249. And I probably referenced you in at least 100 of them at some point. So for those that don't know, Lyle is a perfect hybrid between rock star and cryptozoologist, urban legend researcher. But he's not your everyday sit at the desk, read a book, Google. He actually gets out there, goes to these small towns, and does firsthand interviews and firsthand research with these places of lore and legend. I myself have a ton of his books. I've done specials for this show where I've utilized books that I've referenced books that he's written specifically about the topics that I did my research on, such as The Lizard Man of Bishopville. This one was probably one of our more popular cryptid episodes that we've ever done, and 90% of my research came directly from Lyle's book. Another one being the Beast of Boggy Creek was one that absolutely took off, and that's 100% thanks to Lyle. I would say about 75% of my research came from this one, the Boggy Creek casebook that he has written. But thanks to him, I was able to get my hands on something that I didn't know I needed until I read about it in one of his books, and that was Smokey Crabtree's book, Smokey and the Fouke Monster. So that's actually where I want to start off. In general, Lyle, right? We'll get to the rock and roll and everything, but I really want to know about the Monster Hunter. How did this begin for you? Where did you get your start and your love for all this stuff?
Well, the short of that is that as far back as I can remember, I just loved movie monsters, anything spooky or monstrous. And of course, I saw what I could on TV back in the day, and was familiar with Famous Monsters magazine. And then when I was in third grade, I got a book called Strange But True by Daniel Cohen. That was the first time I'd heard of Bigfoot, Yeti, and the Loch Ness Monster, because it had chapters on those. And that's when I was like, whoa, this sounds super cool, because these are like monsters that you might see in the real world. My dad is an avid bow hunter, so I grew up hunting since I could walk, basically. And so, I was familiar with small towns and, wooded areas. So that was kind of Bigfooty, but I was born in Fort Worth and lived in Texas. So, stories of Bigfoot seem far away. And of course, Loch Ness Monster and Yeti were, continents away. Then I saw the movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek, when I was really young, sometime in the 70s. And that really blew my mind, because it was like happening in a small town about 3 hours from where I lived. So then it was sort of like, man, this stuff is so cool. And I just had a lifelong, passion for cryptids and Bigfoot sightings and anything like that, real life monsters, so to speak. And, I went on to become a musician, and I did writing as well. I kind of wrote off and on, but I just never really thought about writing a book. It sounded boring. Writing a book, like I can write a song and I can go play it on stage like literally next week, or record an album and go on tour. It sounded boring. But then as an adult, I started looking more into what's the state of cryptid things, and I was thinking at it more like with my adult mind and thinking, you know what, the Legend of Boggy Creek, I love that happened all, close to me. And that would be a really cool book. I can't believe nobody had written a book on it, because every Bigfooter, it's like, oh yeah, I love the Legend of Boggy Creek, because I'd gone to a few Bigfoot conferences and things. And this was many, many years ago. And so then I just thought, man, I'm just going to go research this and go up there and look at those places in the Sulphur River bottoms, and I'm going to go hang out with Smokey, and I just plunged right into it. And then I wrote The Beast of Boggy Creek, and then I just kind of did it because I just wanted to. And I got a publishing deal with Anomalous pretty quick. And then within about a month or two after that came out, I was getting calls from television shows like Monsters and Mysteries in America and Finding Bigfoot. Those were kind of just, a lot of those were really coming out, and they were interviewing me about the Fouke Monster. And I just thought, okay, this is pretty good. This is fun. And then I discovered this can be fun, because I went out and did, I was out in the swamp and talking to, people who lived in the bottoms, and interviewing people in this town, and talking to people telling me they saw a monster. So then the writing was fun at that point, because then, to write it up was fun, because I wasn't just sitting at a desk the whole time during the process of books. So anyway, that was good. And so then I just went from there thinking, well, what other case should I do for my next book? And that's when I thought, well, the Lizard Man, because, I'm kind of a huge fan of like Creature from the Black Lagoon. And this happened at Skateboard Swamp in South Carolina. I'm like, dude, this is like modern people saying they saw kind of like a creature from the Black Lagoon. So I went out there and hung out with Sheriff Truesdale and saw all the police files, and just rolled from there and continued with the books. And of course, people said, I love how you go to the places in your book. So then I'm like, okay, now I got to go. I can't write a book without going to the place. So I just continued.
Man, you're everywhere. You've blown up. Ever since I've been really into this stuff and doing my own research, you've been there. But you're literally everywhere. If somebody knows or has the slightest interest in cryptozoology, they know the name Lyle Blackburn. You're part of the Small Town Monsters crew. I want to dive into that, because honestly, that is beyond amazing from my own point of view. I've idolized Seth Breedlove and everybody in that crew, Shane LeGros, and yourself for so long. You guys are literally like a squad of superheroes in the cryptozoology world. How'd you get tied up in small town monsters, man? And how is that? How is that for you?
Well, the first time I met Seth, I was speaking at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and this would have been probably around 2013 or 14, maybe. And he just came up and introduced himself. I think he had read The Beast of Boggy Creek, and he was like, "Oh man, I love these cases and how they affect small towns." And we were talking about that, and he was like, "I'm going to write a book maybe like about small towns and these cryptids." And we were just talking about the subject. And then he kind of pivoted and decided to do that documentary on the Minerva monster. He met a couple other guys, and so they ended up just going for the film aspect. And so, we just kept in touch, and then he did The Beast of Whitehall. And then when it came time, he's like, "Man, we got to do Fouke Monster." I mean, Boggy Creek is like this quintessential monster, has a big movie and affects the whole town. So he said, I can't do this without you, because I'd literally written the book. So it was his idea to kind of incorporate me more into it rather than just use my book or whatever, or just interview me. It was like, here, I'm going to kind of interject you in the film. So that's when he began that style of having me. He's like, "You should narrate it," because I'm like, okay. And, I had narrated an episode of Monsters and Mysteries in America. They did a Blackburn Files episode, and I kind of learned a lot by narrating that episode. And so anyway, we did the Boggy Creek Monster documentary, and people loved it, and just sort of that style. And we went ahead, and so when he did Mothman, he's like, it's less about me, but I want you to narrate it. So I narrated it. So I think I've narrated now 10 of their movies, and Boggy Creek and Momo I was in. I was a host. Like that's sort of a different kind of style, but anyway, so yeah, it's great to work with him. And I mean, Seth and I talk frequently or run ideas, and I know the whole crew, all the guys, and, I'm kind of like the outlier. Some of them guys work all the time together on every production or whatever, but I'm just the hired gun on call. When he says, "I need you to do this," I do it. And it's always great to participate. The latest, I just narrated the intro for the Ape Canyon documentary that they just did, which is a very cool documentary, just came out, but I only narrate like the beginning, and then they sort of take over and tell the story. But
I can't wait for that. Years ago, Jake, what was it, 2021, 2022, when we were in the Paranormal Network, we worked under Jason Hewlett, who just started working with Small Town Monsters. He did the Ogopogo, and he just did Heart of Ice, the Wendigo story. So it's cool, man. We're slowly meeting people from the Small Town Monsters crew. I was on Shannon LeGros' podcast a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I think now. Been trying really hard to get her on here, but she's a very popular person. She's still waiting. That's all. Shannon, if you're listening, still waiting. But guys, you guys have any questions so I don't hijack this entire episode?
Not really, man. Not yet.
He will once we get into music.
Yeah, once we get into music. I'm not like the biggest cryptid guy personally. I mean, I find it like interesting, but it's not really like my forte. So, but I'm here for it. So,
oh yeah, man,
let it ride.
How about you, Jacob?
Yeah, it's funny. You're basically coming into this space example of how you were real big into monster films and stuff like that. Like that's like. I don't celebrate Halloween, but I'll spend the entire month of October watching all the B-rated like creature features and stuff like that. My favorite so far is a movie from the 1930s called Man Beast, because the acting is awful. But I super big into the costumery of the whole thing, and let's say like animatronics, things like that, right? Puppeteering and all that sort of stuff. And so it's always really struck me as, one of my favorite genres of films. So naturally, the next step is to then get into what you're doing and go searching for the creature from Black Lagoon and stuff like that. Everything is just like, oh, this guy's, it's like we get guests on here all the time that I have no similarities with them whatsoever. And it's just like, I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of interesting and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like the second that you said that, my ears perked up. I'm just like, look at that. Like the monster movies like me, not too big into the whole ghosts and aliens and things like that. But yeah.
Right. I mean, I literally live, I mean, I don't, I'm balanced and skeptical enough about it. I don't like, hey, I'm going to go to this swamp and I'm immediately going to see the creature. It's like,
sure.
But in a way, it's like it's totally Indiana Jones. Like I'm living like in a movie or something. Like I'm going to hunt for monsters in real life, and sometimes I've seen stuff and experienced things, and sometimes I haven't. But it's always just a cool experience. Like it gives me a reason to go somewhere. Like literally I'm down on the edge of a swamp in some state, in some backwoods, in a trailer, talking to some people that I would have never met in my entire life. And like, so what do you want to know? And you're just like, how do I even get here? And you meet people that are just super interesting. And many of them have some really good stories, and you piece together the cases of these creatures that in some ways the story is just as interesting as the creature itself or the sightings. And Seth feels the same way. It's like it builds this whole mystique, like the Mothman, the Lizard Man. It's like it almost exists, whether it exists or not, because you're talking to people that are telling you they saw it. You can't say they did or didn't. Some people seem more credible than others, but you're living like literally in a monster movie. And then you're like, well, we'll take you out here on the boat down back over here. This woman saw, next thing you're out with in the middle of nowhere with some guys, you're like,
put some real trust into them, huh?
Yeah. A few times I'm like, but of which, I think if I was just some writer who's going out, but, since I grew up hunting, I mean, we were hanging out with a lot of rough dudes in wooded areas, and, I was exposed to a lot of that. So even though I'm like a city guy, I've been played music in every major city, but I could still go in the middle of the swamp and be right at home. So that helped me out. But I guess what I'm saying is, it's like, in a way, I just try to think I'm living in a monster movie.
It's funny, when Jeremy and I started this podcast like 5 years ago now. When we first started out, it was interviewing people that had experiences and things like that, right? And the idea was to always get to a point where, especially when we were under the Paranormal Network, we were actually getting paid for our show and stuff. And so the idea was we would put that money aside and say, take I was living in California at the time in the Navy, and it was like, hey, the Patterson Gimlin film was filmed just a couple hours north of me. How about if we all, take a trip out there and do that, or, base camp in each other's locations? Because, Jeff was down in Florida, still is. And then Jeremy was, where were you, in Virginia at the time, right?
I was stationed in Virginia.
Yeah, and then you moved over here to Wisconsin. But yeah, that was like the whole idea, is that we wanted to get past just interviewing people like this, instead going places and doing stuff. And so it's kind of interesting to hear your, progression to that point. So I think, we need to just get up off our butts and go do the thing, because I think the closest we've been so far is going to UFO days here in Elmwood, Wisconsin, and interviewing people that, say they've seen UFOs and all this sort of stuff, or had alien encounters and everything. And it's cool. But yeah, I mean, it would be dope to go just running around in a Florida swamp somewhere looking for some, Bigfoot variant or something like that.
Go look for the source of the Mayaka photos down Sarasota.
Doing like the in real life stuff, it is fun, because me and Creamer, we've gone to like NASA and Space Center, and like, you know, we're always into the conspiracies and all that stuff. So like just walking around with the camera and like checking stuff out in person is a million times better than just talking to each other on the internet. You know, as much as I like doing this, it's, you know, there's nothing like getting out there and like boots on the ground kind of thing.
But yeah, I agree with you, Lyle. You know, I would say out of all the things that we've talked about and people we've talked to, I probably find maybe 1% of it to be, you know, no crap believable. But I mean, that's just me. But regardless, the stories and you know, I don't have to believe that it actually happened, but I can believe that they believe that it happened, sort of a thing. But, you know, the stories and, you know, you get real interesting, like, I don't think this guy's making this thing up, sort of, you know, situations with some of the people that we've talked to. And it's really what, when Jeremy and I started this, we wanted to, I don't know, kind of help people that have had these sorts of experiences that might feel so super isolated, being like, well, I saw Bigfoot and, you know, and no one else that I know has seen this, and being able to connect those people together and create a community like that. So I like that you're, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
He's written the script for the whole thing, man.
The description that you gave of meeting interesting characters, you know, backwoods type people and stuff like that. Like, that's really cool. Like, what a neat thing to be able to do.
Experience a membership that backs your business journey with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy a welcome offer of 200,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
'Tis the season for all your holiday favorites, like A Very Jonas Christmas Movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Should I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then Hulu has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
We're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
All of these and more streaming this holiday season. And right now, save big with our special Black Friday offer. Bundle Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 1 year. Savings compared to current regular monthly price. Ends 12/1. Offer for ad-supported Disney Plus Hulu bundle only. Then $12.99 a month or then current regular monthly price. 18 plus terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita, which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right. Because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
And even if you never come across the monster or see the monster, like you're still living like a whole multiple lives worth of experiences, just meeting these people, going out in the woods, like doing all that. That in itself is an adventure, you know, monster aside. But then you add that element, like, well, maybe somewhere out here, this thing's watching us or something. You know, maybe we'll stumble across something that's, you know, like that part of it just kind of adds that element of like, oh shit, here we go, you know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just have to put yourself in these places. You get a better perspective, and you know it. And as a writer, I mean, my Sinister Swamps book is probably my favorite book because you know every setting is awesome to describe, and how many spooky ways can I set this up, and then that covers a lot of notorious swamps in North America, and a lot in the Southeast. I've been to a lot of them, you know. Over time. One time I went on a swamp tour. I just drove around the country going to notorious swamps. My friend, this girl, Cindy, that does a lot of research with me, I'm like, you want to go on a swamp tour? And she always just says yes. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but okay. I said, we're going to drive around to swamps and we're going to get people to take us in there on boats. She's like, okay. I mean, stuff like that. But, you know, those are fun things to write about when you get home, and you do meet interesting people. And, of course, I'm trying to interview people who had sightings or whatever. But, you know, you get a much better perspective than seeing pictures or looking on Wikipedia for the story. It's like, you know, you can get a real good perspective on how somebody could see something out there and go, you know what, I can see why they thought they saw this or why they might have, because people think, oh, there's nowhere you can go or hide, or, people think, well, where could these creatures hide? I'm like, let me show you an aerial view of the Sulphur River bottoms in southwest Arkansas, and I'll drop you in the middle of that with no GPS or compass, and you tell me if you can find your way out. Because it is thick and muddy and swampy, and for average person, and something could be 15 yards from you. You walk by, if it doesn't move, you're not going to see it. And that could be 15 yards every direction, every square mile. I did some survival training once with Marines, and those guys could hide practically in plain sight. They're not wearing ghillie suits and stuff. I learned a lot about how easy it is to conceal yourself, and that animals would be their environment. That's what they're made. Survival is their thing, and that's their domain. So people don't really realize it doesn't take a lot of space, and something can be very, secluded and be an expert in evading humans if it needed to be. So you kind of get that perspective where, you know what, there could be something out here, a small population of something. And I just, I wouldn't see it unless it just made a mistake or something.
Yeah, I discussed that with Jeremy once or twice, because I've driven cross country twice now, and I'm like, outside the cities and the small towns, there's nothing out there. Like, people get this weird thing like, oh my gosh, 8 billion people, there must be, not a single square inch of untamed space anywhere, and it's just like, no, man. You get into some of those states where it's like Arkansas and stuff like that, you get outside of Oklahoma, you get outside the towns and the cities, and they're just trees for 300 miles before you hit the next gas station. There's just nothing, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, all those 8 billion people are in LA in the traffic, or in Dallas in the traffic.
Yeah, right.
They're all at. They're all in one spot. And then it is spread out. And there are places where, people penetrate a lot of places, but there's not great numbers of people tromping through some of these areas,
Sure.
like there would be in cities where it's just gotten so crowded. But,
and
there are
then,
still places.
And even then, me and my wife almost creamed a doe right outside of Walmart yesterday. Still get in there,
Right. I had a guy tell me, I didn't find this guy to be the most credible guy, but he was trying to tell me there was some Bigfoots down. It was either Costco or the Walmart or something. Like they were in the dumpsters. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, I've seen some guys, some people at Walmart that I might glance at and think I saw a Sasquatch, but all jokes aside, he's trying to tell me they were in the dumpsters or whatever at this city, like in Oklahoma City or something. I'm like, I'm telling you, unless there's a portal in the dumpster or some really crazy explanation, I'm not buying it. But if this is an area where it's very remote, then yeah, maybe so.
Speaking of portals,
I got one more question before I forget. So you're pretty well known now, but when you got started, or I don't know, even still today, do you ever come into a situation where you're trying to interview people and you just get completely stonewalled? They're just like have no desire whatsoever to open up?
Some, on occasion where usually what it is somebody will have knowledge about, maybe I'm at a conference or some way or another, a person meets go, I know this old guy. He, back, 15 years ago, he claimed to have had some incredible sighting, or he and his buddy shot this, Bigfoot or some really crazy story. And it's usually somebody else who's wanting me to get that information. And they try to set up, a conversation with that person. And sometimes those are the kind of people that are like, I'm not going to talk to that guy. They don't even know. They'll may or may not even know who I am, but they just won't talk. And so those are the times when I just can't, sounds like it might be an intriguing story, but I can't get those people to talk. And usually they're older people and probably haven't told many people about this, or have told some people and people laughed at it, and then they just said, I'm not saying nothing more. But, in general, most people, will be glad to share with me. I mean, they feel like I treat the subject seriously. So if they know me, of course, and they've had a sighting or experience, they're glad to tell me, or really want to tell me. I don't have too much of a problem usually.
Got a lot here. Jake and I were the original two. Our very first episode was a interview with a good buddy of mine from the Navy. He lived just outside of Slidell in Louisiana, along Pearl River, and he had a sighting of a weird creature one night when he was just walking outside of his grandmother's house on her property, and he had never heard of the Honey Island Swamp Monster. So I actually had referred him to your book, Sinister Swamps, and he read up on it. And then I also gave him another reference book. I think it was, I want to say it was a book called Southern Saurians. Anyways, between that, he was able to learn enough about the Honey Island Swamp Monster, and I actually found a local woman there who was writing her own books and selling them on the side of the road. And he came on, did the interview with us, and he has a really interesting story. But when you go into these small towns, with the growth of technology now, right? Because you've been doing this for quite a while. Are you seeing differences when you go into these smaller towns to learn about their local legends? Let's say Honey Island Swamp Monster, Momo, pick one, right? Are you seeing a difference between nowadays and back then? And do you think that the advancement in technology such as AI, or the ability to exchange information at the snap of a finger through the interwebs, has changed how people are, what kind of information they're giving you, and how you approach these kind of topics?
Well, I mean, if you're talking to people in a small town and they're relatively middle-aged or older, all that stuff has literally no effect. They're just like, here's what I saw. This is when I saw it. My cousin also saw something, and there you go. They just don't care that all this AI and all the technology and sharing stuff and is mostly centered around people who are into the subject. Not necessarily people who had the experiences, but people who are on Facebook things and sharing stuff, and just endless AI photos that people debate about and stuff. The only thing I've seen over time is that sometimes people who have had these experiences now have the ability to listen to podcasts or watch a TV show, whereas used to they didn't. And they'll say, I listened to this podcast where somebody said they saw it, and that was similar to my experience. So they do have a way to kind of research. It didn't really change the core of how they present their story or what it is, but you didn't used to encounter that. People would, they had their thing, and I've never, and they would say, has anybody else had these experiences? But now, people are able to find podcasts and things. So a lot of times they've listened to other stuff, and then they feel a little bit better probably about their sighting, because like, okay, now there's somebody else who saw something that I thought I was the only person that saw something really weird. So it helps. And I think that, things are easily shared now, of course. I mean, you can find 50 million people saying they've seen Bigfoot if you just look in all these groups. Before, if you're old school, like just think about John Green in the 70s, like how he writes a book, like this, that's this thick, no internet.
Yeah.
Literally newspapers from around the country. I'm like, man, that is a massive amount of, research, investigative journalism, how he did that. Now it's so much easier. I'm writing a new book, and I just kind of I needed a sighting about a certain creature, and I, polled some of my followers online, and that got me to a person who had this amazing sighting. And so I just literally use technology. So it's easier to find things, but at the core, people still are protective of their sighting, and they don't want people to make fun of them, of course.
You ever have anybody just like totally waste your time? Like you go across the country or something and you meet up with some people, they take you out into the woods and you just kind of realize along the way, like this guy's literally just like full of shit. Like, does that ever happen to you?
That happened earlier on, where I wasn't as streamlined or as busy, and I would follow some threads that weren't very solid. But after a while, you learn quickly which things seem more credible than others and which might be worth. People have this perception that like, hey, I just had this sighting yesterday in Michigan. Can you come check it out? I'm like, that's not how much it cost and the time. And it would have to be, like really exceptional, or I'm just, I'm going to be up there and maybe I can veer off and talk to you or whatever. You can show me your site. So I did go on some, wild goose chases early on, but I quickly identified those people who tell me extraordinary claims that I would need to have more proof or feel this is more worthwhile if I'm going to invest the time into it, because it'll just, I can find people saying these sightings all over. I don't need to go, necessarily to Michigan. I can just go over here to Oklahoma. So yeah, I'm way more picky, so I don't get in those situations anymore.
So in a time where, actually, let me backtrack that. A few years ago, I would believe that some of that better evidence to really pull you into a location would most likely be a video, a voice recording, even a photograph. But now with AI coming along the way it is, how are you deciphering what you're going to actually put some effort into?
Usually, the top thing for me is the person themselves. Because usually people are just not going to have a great photo anyway. And if they had such an amazing photo that was really real, they probably would just put it on YouTube or whatever, or on their feed, but mostly it comes down to the person. That if I feel like they're, credible, relatively well-spoken, it's not like, and they had something that I feel really affected them, and you can just tell the difference. And then you can tell what I consider things that are either wishful thinking or illusionary or whatever. It's easy. So it's the person that would drive it the most, is to say. And then, of course, in pairing with, if I'm doing a book on...
As a contractor, I don't pay for materials I don't use. So why would I pay for stuff I don't need in my mobile plan? That's why my Biz Plan from Verizon Business is so perfect. Now I can choose exactly what I want, and I only pay for what I need.
Right now, with my Biz Plan, get our best price, as low as $25 a line. Visit Verizon.com/business to get started today.
New lines only. Price per month with 5+ lines. Includes autopay and paper-free billing and promotional discount. Taxes, fees, economic adjustment charge. Applicable add-ons, prices, and terms apply. Guarantee applies to base monthly rate and stated discounts only. Add-on prices additional. Offers in January 5th, 2026.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Hey, the vibes are slipping. I think it's time to bring out the Velveeta shells and cheese. The holidays are a time to go all in on indulgence. Headline your meals with the rich, creamy meltiness of Velveeta shells and cheese and satisfy your holiday cravings like no other. Bring that main course energy to your side dish. Celebrate extra with Velveeta these holidays.
Momo, Missouri, and I'm concentrating all efforts on that, then obviously I'm more likely to invest time and money into going to look into something there, because it's going to be in the book and it's part of the story, and not just willy-nilly going around the country investigating sightings because ultimately, unless I'm backed by some unnamed millionaire or whatever, or there's a Tom Slick, that like Peter Byrne had, if you don't have that, you just don't have the luxury of just going around just randomly. So.
Yeah. So I want to dive a little bit into the music that you do as well, and kind of the marriage between the two careers that you have. Has there ever been a time where you're on some sort of investigation, doing some sort of research that's actually inspired something for Ghoultown?
No, it's kind of a strange thing. They are two different worlds, and somehow they just don't mix. The things I write for Ghoultown just sort of come out like that and kind of stick with a kind of spaghetti Western horror theme and everything. But those songs just come out like they are. I did kind of dabble with trying to write one like a Legend of Boggy Creek song or put Bigfoot, and it just sounded silly and it just didn't work. And I mean, I literally just got some guy the other day sending me lyrics for a Bigfoot song. Here, you can use these. And it was pretty good, but the two worlds didn't meet. So they're almost like one of them's my day job or night job, and the other they kind of don't have anything to do with each other unless like playing someplace. Like I was playing with my doom metal band in Germany. Me and the drummer went to this small town where they had a case of a werewolf. Like a guy was executed for being a werewolf. So we're like,
Wow.
Hey, that's not too far from where we're at. And we took a train over there and went out there. And, so sometimes I can just piggyback things together because it works that way. But in a way, they're very separate, and I don't try to cross them over. Other than this, like I'm on a paranormal podcast, people will talk about the music, and people will go check it out, and they'll either like it or don't. But a lot of people have discovered the band through that, so they cross over, and just because I'm the guy. But other than that, and I try to do both. It's become very hard to do, but I just don't go on whole tours, like long tours, much anymore. So, unless we're doing an album, we play bigger shows and stuff. I have plenty of time to do my own thing, because I really don't want to just spend enough years touring around, so I don't do much of that. So,
Yeah, I think I probably started following your music shit probably about 5 years ago. I think it was in your, I don't even know. It's one of the books that I have that you had mentioned Ghoultown in, and I was like, oh, no shit. So I had to go check it out. Every time you guys come up with something new on YouTube and it comes up on my recommended page, I check you out, man. I like to follow your career. Either one of them. You do good stuff, man.
Yeah, it is kind of cool now because we did a kind of a Southern tour a couple of years ago, and now you'll have a lot of like Bigfoot guys show up, or cryptid fans, or so I'll end up talking to people like, hey man, I love your book. So, they'll come to the shows, that didn't used to happen, Ghoultown was Ghoultown. And, but yeah, so now I get to meet a lot of people that just became fans, but they're huge fans of cryptids. So they'll come out and, talk. And so that's cool. Cause any show there can be, original Ghoultown fans, and then, cryptid fans who are also Ghoultown. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, which would you prefer if you had to pick one, right? If you can continue doing the monster hunting or continue the music, like which path do you think you'd take if you had to choose?
Which one of your kids do you love more?
Yeah, which one do you love more?
That is the problem, man. I literally cannot. It's like they're both cool, and somehow I try to do both, which is kind of crazy. It's like you really don't want to quote a term, you don't want to chase two rabbits. You shouldn't wear two hats, but I only wear one hat, and you guys are the rabbits. But yeah, it's just impossible. So somehow I just try to do it all, and I balance it, and I usually the band suffers. The monster hunting doesn't, because I can control that. The band may suffer a little, but but I've been doing music for so long. Like before I was out of high school, I was already in bands playing fairly big shows, and even I was not even on vinyl records and stuff. So this was going on a long time. So I just do the band enough to where I enjoy it, and we just have a good time, and I do everything. So it's impossible to pick.
I can relate to that,
Yeah,
honestly, man, because I've got like multiple hobbies, and it's like never. It's almost like if they were all jobs, I would be miserable because it's just never ending. It's like 24/7, it seems like, except for when I'm asleep. But, you know, they're hobbies, so it's all things that I enjoy doing. But yeah, I'm like ping-ponging back and forth and trying to write a song and trying to do this, trying to do a podcast. It's just like, it's a lot. So I can see that.
Yeah, and I think though that in some ways can help because you never get tired of one thing. Like if I just put out an album, we went on tour, I got to write another album. You know, if I had this obligation or this label thing where I don't have any of that. I just literally do what I feel inspired to do. Hey, I'm going to work on a book today. I got, loving this book. I'm writing. Yeah, I'm not working on a book. I've got some song ideas. So everything is always just coming at what I want to do and what I'm inspired to do, which is a better thing than if you didn't just have one thing, you definitely have to, the next album, the next thing, or the next book. So I think it helps to give your best when you don't have to do it. You just do what inspires you, and that's what you love.
That's awesome.
You got any books about the music industry?
Books about the music industry?
Yeah.
Nah.
You ever think about writing one?
No, there's too many creatures I can't get to. Too many, the list of books is, and so I mean, the only thing I did was it's a book, Tales from the Badlands, which is the lyrics of Ghoultown, Volume 1. I did half the lyrics. It prints the lyrics, and then I talk about there's like a page or so about just something behind the lyrics or the inspiration or just some anecdote about that. So it's a book. I mean, most bands probably don't have a literary type work that goes with it. I've only so far done Volume 1. I need to do the other half, but so that's the only thing that is remotely music meets book. But yeah, there's too many. I think I've got too many books in mind already to where I can't accomplish that through my whole entire life. So I probably wouldn't jump off and, do any other genres of book probably.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question from a fan. That I just got this text. Are you friends with
Yes, of course. Yeah.
All right, man. Who wears the black hat better?
Well, we tried to figure out who had the hat first. And so we're like, who had the hat? Which Ken calls it, what does he call it? Divergent development or something. But we were both, and this before we knew each other, we were both kind of into this subject. We tended to wear hats. He was a singer in a rock band, wore the hat. I'm a singer in a rock band, wear the hat. We both ended up on television shows. We write books. And when we met, we were just like instant brothers, of course, like, dude, hey, it's you, it's me. But we did go back and say, who had the hat first? And we could produce pictures of us at the youngest of ages going, right here, buddy. And we had a match where I think we got back to 3 years old. We both had a picture. I'm wearing a cowboy hat. He was wearing like a little more like an Amazon Explorer, but pretty close. And we're like, okay, it's a draw. But the good thing is I mean, we love the jokes because people with the hats and this and people will say, hey man, I saw you on TV. We're never really sure which one they saw, but it doesn't matter. We're both in the same place at one time. I was like, this is like double exposure, dude. So we just have the best fun with it, with the hat thing. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I got a hat question for you. So you have like a spare?
I do not.
So that's the one. It's the one.
Yeah, this came from Mexico around 1998. I used to go to Mexico a lot, and there was this little shop that had leather goods, like really badass boots and vests and hats. And that's where I got the hat right about the time I had the idea for Ghoultown and stuff. And it was like the magic hat. And then I've since tried to find like a backup, or I'd probably have to have it custom made because they just don't look quite the same. So I just have this one. Never gets out of my sight. Yeah, it's like the Blues Brothers with that meat paste where they've handcuffed it to themselves. I'll have to handcuff the hat.
Hey, well, I seen this guy on the internet. I don't know his thing, but he does like those custom leather. You might have seen him. He does like the really badass like custom leather hats. I think he goes to a lot of like metal shows and festivals, and he's doing that thing. You might have to hit him up, man, and get you a spare just in case. Because if you lose that hat, man.
Well, that hat's probably worth a lot of money now. I know a lot of people that would love to get their hands on that hat.
Yeah, I know. I'm like it's in my will to my daughter. So yeah, it's like she's like, what? And I'm like, seriously, I think it is. But yeah, if I run across one of them kind of guys, they can measure this one or whatever. It wouldn't be that hard to redo it. But yeah, I need a backup. Now I have some stunt doubles. They're not the same, and I wouldn't wear it in place, but I have stunt doubles like if I'm going out in the middle of a swamp and, if I'm filming or I kind of want the hat vibe, I'll wear a different black hat. It's not quite the same, but, I don't want this thing falling in an alligator eating it or whatever. It was once cowhide, so, they may think it's food, but so yeah, I don't wear it out in the middle of places where it would be in jeopardy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I pictured you had like, you open up the closet and you had like 10 of the same hat sitting there just ready to go just in case.
The black shirts though, like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Our guitar players, I have this really, really randomly big closet in this house, and it's just like girls love to just, oh my God, look at that closet. But our guitar player's wife was in there when I just bought the house. She was in just this line of black, all black. She's like, oh my God, can I take a picture of this? I'm like, okay. Because but only one hat, but all the black shirts.
Well, it goes with everything.
Yeah, it's universal.
Any other questions, boys?
That's funny. I was just about to make a joke about that. Just like, one hat, 3 pairs of shoes, only black shirts. Just lined up.
Well, I learned that from actually Alfred Hitchcock. He had 31 suits, and he would that way he didn't have to waste time thinking about what to wear. He just wore them in order, and then they all got dry cleaned. Yeah, I mean, you can imagine he's a busy guy. He's got to direct these amazing, legendary movies. He ain't got time to pick a outfit or whatever, Hawaiian shirts or nothing. He's like, he had 31 suits, and that's what he wore. So I was like, I'll just get 31 black shirts. Good to go.
I love it. That is awesome. Hell yeah, man. Thinking about less things.
Right. You and especially, I mean, Jeff's talking about how many hobbies he's had. You got a lot of stuff. We like to do a lot of cool stuff. So put your time where it's most effective and there's most enjoyment. Picking clothes is, well, not enjoyable mostly.
Yeah. I mean, I wear like the same 6 shirts. I mean, if people watch the show are probably wondering like, how many times am I going to wear this shirt on the show? Well, I've only got like 6 of them in the closet that I wear, but even then I'm still like,
which of the 6?
Yeah. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just throw them all out. Just get all the same shirt.
Yeah. See, I had just straight black. And I mean, I have other shirts, but I did have it. I had one like job for a while writing for this company, and that's all I wore every day. This is my uniform. It was a black shirt. They probably thought I wore the same shirt every day. I literally had, whatever.
That's awesome, man.
This is a fun interview. Did you think you were going to come on here and spend 10 minutes talking about shirts?
You never know what's going to await. So
we leave no
like
rabbit hole untapped.
I can entertain and answer.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. and celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at amazon.com/new Alexa.
Popeye's Scary Good new Freddy Fazbear Box has garlic palm tenders and cheesy bites with marinara sauce. Try it before it's too late. And see Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in theaters. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants.
This episode is brought to you by eBay. Buying parts for your car? You'll know that will it work feeling. But on eBay, buying parts is different. eBay's free returns means if it doesn't fit, or if it isn't what you expected, you just print a label, drop it off, and get your refund fast. No haggling, no stress, and at least 30 days to return any eligible item. Millions of parts, free returns. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Any question. People like, is there something I shouldn't ask? I'm like, I don't know. These guys asked about my closet.
Shit. All right. Let's see.
Well, I have a question then.
Go for it.
Talking about, I don't think we really ever get into our guests and like their personal lives aside from what they do. And so you'd mentioned, your hat being willed to your daughter. How does having a schedule like that balance out with having a family life too? Because I think that's one of the things that we struggle with the most here is like, how much time do I dedicate to a podcast and hobbies and work and all this sort of stuff? And then also, oh yeah, I haven't gone out on a date with my wife in, 6 months. I probably should do that, spend some time with her. So how does that all balance out? Because it sounds like a lot of travel.
Yeah, it is. So it does not balance, which is why I don't do well with, I'm divorced from my wife, and I don't do well typically with relationships because it's just, it's hard to do unless they want to come along for the adventure,
Yeah, sure.
That becomes hard. And so that, but my daughter's awesome and she's 13 and, I have such a flexible schedule, and luckily the mom's cool and lives close, and we just kind of, back and forth, and she covers me and when I have to go out of town, and otherwise, I'm working on stuff at home anyways. So it's cool. And that gives me a little bit of, regular life, and my daughter's rewarding, to watch her grow up. But yeah, it's not done me well. None of this has, being a musician and doing a lot of touring before this, or and this kind of stuff where I'm gone a lot, or I have to work or whatever. Yeah, that doesn't mix. So I do my best.
Sorry for the downer question, but
kind
of curious.
No, it's good to know, man. I mean, I've got 4 kids myself. I'm married, and it's hard enough to just do a weekly podcast where we interview people. I mean, I've been working on a book for a year and a half now, and I don't see when it's going to be done because I just don't have the time. So no, I appreciate the question. I appreciate the answer too. Honestly, it's
yeah, there'd be no way I could get all this done if I did have more family obligations than I do. Because writing books, music, I was doing a podcast, I do YouTube channel. I'm like, all I do is work. I mean, it's fun. I just do this. I don't have any, like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know. This is all I do. Unless I'm with my daughter. I'm taking care of my daughter, or I'm literally doing this.
Speaking of Monstro Bizarro. So what are you doing over there right now?
Well, lately, so I've done a podcast called Monstro Bizarro. I did about 20 or 21 episodes, because a lot of people would comment on my narration for Small Town Monsters. Oh man, it's cool. You got the voice and all.
You do.
And so I did that, and I have a lot of people who love it, and it doesn't generate a lot back for the time it took me to produce these episodes, because it's like an audio journey on these cases. It's not where I'm just interviewing people, and they took a lot of time to produce. So, but then lately I decided I get a lot of questions about certain things and locations. And I made these videos. They're short. They're about 11 or 12 minutes long, and they're on my YouTube channel, but I'm on the location. The first one I did was the Ford House, which is this thing from the Legend of Boggy Creek. People want to know where the Ford House was. It's like a climactic scene in the movie, and that's where this really crazy experience that these people had was reported. So I went on the site and I just did that. And like that video got like 73,000 views, like right off the bat. So I was like, okay, people seem to like this. So I followed that up with some more on location ones. And I've done 4 newer videos, where I went out to Marion County in Texas, talked about a sighting there. I went up to the Ozarks, interviewed that guy, Blake, that had this sighting. And so I'm really starting to put stuff on my YouTube channel, and sort of, it's like my book's coming to life a little bit. Like, hey, here I am at this location, and here's the story. And so that's kind of what I've been really trying to pump up lately as far as my YouTube channel, Monstro Bizarro, and stuff.
Yeah, YouTube pays way better than podcasting. I'll tell you that. You don't make shit doing podcasts.
No.
Well, I noticed that real fast. Like, the podcast, it's fun, and I like doing the voice, but yeah, it was like night and day. It's like, and I think people were receptive to it because, again, we were, the things we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, like going to the locations and stuff. And I've written about a lot of these things, and people who read enjoy that, but even the people who've read the books will enjoy seeing the actual place, because I know where places are that no one knows. Like I can literally, like where Christopher Davis had where he was attacked by the alleged lizard man, I literally know the exact spot where he was parked, and literally nobody knows where that is.
Really?
Because Sheriff Truesdale showed me, and Sheriff Truesdale passed away. So, I mean, maybe a local person may know that, but those are places where I could go and say, right here, this is where that happened, and here's what it looks like now, and here, people seem to enjoy that. So there's a little bit of things to offer.
I may lose a few listeners with this one, just in case they're not familiar with the story, or they haven't heard, because we mix in audio documentaries every once in a while too. And I did one based on the Bishopville lizard man, where I used your book as my main source of research. But I got to ask, since you've been to that spot, I mean, do you think his story lines up? And what do you think of this? Well, he's not a kid anymore, but back then he was a kid. What do you think of his story? And do you think there's credibility to that, just being at the location?
Well, right there where that happened, it's right. Skateboard Swamp right there through Bishopville is just a channel. There's all sorts of different kind of swamps, some that are flooded river basins and slow flowing rivers like Everglades. This swamp has basically a channel running through it right there. And there's a bridge, the skateboard bridge that runs under there. And that little area is wild, and there's very few houses right there. They're kind of scattered in and around. It's a rural area. But if you go there in the dark, I mean, it's spooky. I mean, it's very spooky right there. I 100% believe that something happened to Christopher Davis. 100%. He did not make that up. He did not manufacture the story. And he believed that he was attracted by something that wasn't human. I know that's 100%. Now, It's dark. It's scary out there. He was, fairly young. So, there could be room for error. And of course, that whole thing where people allege that it was this farmer who had this little shed, the butterbean shed, which is right there. I have a picture of me in front of it, I think, but that's not far. And people said it was this guy dressed up. I'm like, this is a farmer. How well could he dress up as I don't see how that could fool somebody. Somebody would say, it's like, this person came up to me and chased me, which would be scary enough and out there. But so, yeah, I think the location adds up. And I think Christopher Davis, something happened to him. We can't say whether that was a cryptid or not, but 100% that kid was chased by someone or something.
Yeah. Let's see if I can remember this just to kind of catch up everybody. I believe it was in 1988. I think Christopher Davis was only 17 years old. He was, I think he was changing a tire, right? Near Escape Horse Swamp. Yeah. And he specifically mentioned this tall, red glowing eyes preacher that charged him while he was outside of his car. The lizard man that we know of now leaped onto the roof of Davis's car, and Davis sped away. Davis escaped just fine, and then there was this whole fiasco with his father when he pulled into the driveway that night. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. He had been working he worked at McDonald's in Bishopville, and you have to work from his house. You have to pass through Browntown Road and go past Scapor Bridge. That's where he had the flat, and he pulled over right there, and yeah, he escaped. But, it's like they say this farmer guy or whatever. I'm like, if it was just an old man, he's going to come out there and say, hey, kid, get out of here. I mean, why would he? Yeah. I mean, why would he be dressed in anything other than just being a dude? What purpose would that? I mean, usually if somebody doesn't want you on their property, they come out with a shotgun, and that's what you got. I mean,
one round in the sky, fix it all.
That would be plenty enough. You don't have to chase or jump on his car. Like, what old farmer is doing this? This just seems really, it just doesn't add up. But yeah, that's the story. And, it was back in 88, and that area it's not really any more developed. At least the last time I was out there, it's still a few more houses or whatever, but it still looks the same.
There was some gnarly damage to that car too, wasn't there?
There was a big scratch on it down the side. And, because when Chris got to his house, he just ran inside. He left the car running and ran inside, and I guess woke his dad up, and dad like, what is going on? And they went outside, and, the dad was the one that saw his son so, distraught. And then he said there was a big scratch down the side of the car. And then his dad just said, all right, we'll just, don't say nothing about this. The dad didn't know what to do. He just believed his son, and they kept it quiet for a couple of weeks till there was some stuff in the newspaper. And that's when the dad said, well, maybe that has something to do with what happened to you. Let's go talk to the sheriff. So his dad made Chris go talk to the sheriff.
I scratched my stepdad's truck one time, and I told him it was the lizard people too.
Yeah, but that was different lizard people.
You're right. It was different lizard people, but yeah.
They always get the bad rap with the car damage.
Jeff's our resident conspiracy theorist.
Swear to God, man.
It's the reptilians.
Well, if I could just say one thing about, my appreciation for the way that you do your job, man, I really appreciate the way that you show empathy for the people of the towns that you research. It's the one glaring difference between any book that I've read from you and almost any other modern writer. I mean, you seen it a lot back in the day with, Green, Wableman, Hinden, Keel, right? They all did a good job at being respectful and everything to the locals of these urban legends, but you just don't have that aspect in a lot of modern cryptozoological writers or even researchers. I mean, a lot of people are out there to make a buck right now. And the real difference in your books is that you don't only just tell us the story of the monster that you're researching, you tell us the story of the town that you're researching and you're visiting, and you really do treat it like you're a visitor. You're very respectful in the way that you approach their history and you tell their story. And it's literally the outline that I'm using for the book that I've been writing for over a year now. I'm handling it like it's crystal, and I've got silk gloves on. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, and it's because I like the way that you approach your topics so much. I can't say it enough to anybody listening to this episode. If you have never picked up a Lyle Blackburn book, you're missing out. You need to grab one, because it's not just learning about a local legend. You're going on a journey. You're going on a journey with Lyle. Lyle's taking you along. He's teaching you everything about the history of this location and everything of possibility behind the story of the legend itself. So I just want to say, just from one person that looked forward to this and the event that you and I did about a month ago now, thank you. That's it. I've looked forward to just telling you thank you for writing such amazing books for so long and being a really powerful voice in this community, somebody to really look up to. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. That's great compliments, and that's kind of why I set out what I set out.
This episode is brought to you by Ulta Beauty. Holiday cheer is here, and Ulta Beauty has gifts for everyone on your list. Treat them to fan-favorite gift sets from Charlotte Tilbury and Peach and Lily. Go all out with timeless fragrances from YSL, Ariana Grande, and Carolina Herrera. And you can never go wrong with an Ulta Beauty gift card. Head to Ulta Beauty for gifts that make the holidays brighter and even more beautiful. Ulta Beauty. Gifting happens here.
The Lincoln Wishlist sales event is happening now. Here's what's on everyone's wish list. Enjoying holiday jingles with brilliant 3D audio that surrounds you? Check. Watching snow flurries through the panoramic vista roof? Check. Packing up presents with the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Check. Everything you want. All standard on the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com for exceptional offers on 2025 Lincoln vehicles today.
Everyone wants the Emirates NBA Cup.
And things are heating up.
30 teams started. Bang! But only 8 have advanced to the single elimination knockout rounds. To survive, they'll have to be hungry, relentless, ruthless.
Are you kidding me?
They all want the cup, but only one team can claim it. Who will capture the cup? Emirates NBA Cup knockout rounds begin December 9th on Prime.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy, red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
To do and achieve. And I think, I try to write these books so that, of course, somebody who is into this subject or has seen something or quote unquote a believer, no problem, they're going to enjoy the book. But I want to write a book to where somebody who's like, man, I don't know about this, I want them to read the book and then go, you know what? Wow. There might be something to this. That's where I try to, and by doing, by offering all perspectives. I mean, this is a human story. It's just like people are saying this because ultimately we don't have any proof. So it is a human story, like of small communities and people and groups of people and people that were affected by what happened when this creature or whatever it was came to their town. So I try to really write something engaging that encompasses more than just, well, this guy saw something. that being said, and that's what I do with those books, especially in like Momo and Lizard Man and Beast of Boggy Creek, those case books. But that being said, over the years, I have gotten a slew of reports that just didn't fit into any of the books if they're about one certain creature or one thing. So I actually have a new series of books coming out called Terrifying Encounters. And this is a way for me to be able to include what I think are some of the most credible sightings that I've researched, or some of the most like sensational or dramatic or scary, and also some of the more famous, terrifying encounters, if you will. And so this is going to be a series of books that are a throwback, and you might like this, to the old pocket paperbacks of the 70s, the paranormal monster books of the pocket paperback, where there's a series of them. And so book 1 will be coming out early next year. It's called Terrifying Encounters. The first one has Bigfoot, Dogman, devil monkeys, and other mysterious manimals, which is essentially goat man sightings. And this is the first time I can really just, it didn't matter where they happened. They're just, if it was a sighting of, and I can put the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. And I think this is going to be a good book because it's going to offer some really good stuff and some that I've never been able to write about, that I've had been sitting on these sightings. They're a little bit smaller. Yeah, and the series put out faster than in the whole in-depth case books.
Well, that's awesome, man. I look forward to that. I really do.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
I can't wait, man. I really can't. And I'm a few books behind on you. I got to catch up on a few of them. I know I don't have the Bigfoot of Texas one yet. And then your newest one, I don't think I have that one yet.
Well, Lake Worth Monster is the newest.
Yeah, the Lake Worth one. I don't have that one yet. But I'm really interested in that first one you have there. I don't know if you and I have ever talked about it, but I have my own sighting of something, and that kind of sparked this entire interest that I have. So I love reading about it, just to, do exactly what you were talking about with some of the people who reach out to you, do the whole, let me see if there's anything that matches similar to what I saw. I love doing it. Jeff, Jake, you guys got anything?
Nah, man, I appreciate you coming on, Lyle. It's a good conversation. So maybe we'll do it again one day, and that's pretty much it, brother.
You bet.
Yeah, no, appreciate your time. It's been awesome.
Sweet. Lyle,
absolutely.
You want to share with the audience of the Infinite Rabbit Hole anywhere where they can find you or see your work?
Yeah, just, I guess a good place to find out all the things I've done or get links would be at lyleblackburn.com, and that's got a list of my books and links therein. And Ghoultown music can be found on all the platforms, Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube and anywhere else. But and my books are on Amazon, of course, and then all the work of Small Town Monsters. You can find that, especially on Amazon Prime streaming. So yeah, just hit up lyleblackburn.com and go from there. I appreciate everybody checking it out.
Absolutely, man. All right, Lyle, I'm going to go ahead and close her out. And then if you don't mind just hanging back for just a few minutes so I can make sure all your stuff downloads. And then we'll be done, all right?
Sounds good.
All righty. All right, well, that has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. Until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye now.
Bye.
Adios.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Goodbye.